Hi, everybody. Sorry I wasn't able to get the intro going, so I was having a little technical difficulty. So we're just going to go right to it. How's everybody doing this morning, this afternoon, this evening? It's like freezing here. Hi, Jeannie. Hi, K-Braze. Hi, Diane. Hi, ATS. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Let me see if it'll go, because it wants to play now. Let me see.
Do you dare to follow me down? Head into the unknown, down the rabbit hole, where it stops, no one knows. We're going head into the unknown. Na, 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 na.
All right, so I can tell that today's going to be a fun day with the technology because nothing ever wants to work. Hi, Dynamite. Jeannie, this intro is my favorite intro. This is my favorite intro. I tried to make mine cool like it, and it's a dud, I think. No, yours is not a dud. Silly goose. Hi, K-Braze. Hi, Dominic. Hi, Amanda. Hi, Christy. Oh, goodness. All right. Did anyone watch the interview this morning? Are you talking about from the trial where they're interviewing him, the third interview from August? Oh, yeah. I'm caught up to lunchtime right now, so. Hi, Quitty. Today it's been an interesting day in court. The last few days has been interesting to me. Thank you, Amanda. No, it's the one day that I'm not on YouTube all day and I missed it. One interview. Okay, so they have Alex comes in for an interview. I think it's at August 3rd. Don't quote me on the date though. Sometime in August, and this is when he's meeting with Detective Owen, to go over like updates from the case. Like he wants to ask questions, but then the detective also has questions. So he brings in Corey Fleming, which is an interesting attorney to have with him at this point. And they're asking him all kinds of questions. It's so, oh, Quinn, don't make me blush. Don't make me blush. Hi, Christy. Hi, Melanie. Hi, Carolina. Good afternoon. I'm doing pretty good, Dominic. I'm doing pretty good. So I'm totally caught up with where court is at right now. So the interview is basically just him and the detective, and Corey Fleming is there, and they're about to do cross, but they went to lunch. So they bring up like the Snapchat video. They bring up like where he's holding the tree. They bring up when did he change his clothes? Because in the video he has on the work clothes. He thought, well, I probably already changed them, but I guess not. Hi, Jen Lou. Hey, Jen, if you're not busy and you want to come up, let me know. I'll give you the link. Let me see. What else did they talk about? They talked about the other interview with the dog. No, they don't talk about that interview. The prosecutor or the solicitor or attorney general, whatever the heck this one is, asked him if he had that video yet, and he says no. So they talk about it in court, but they don't talk about it in the interview with Alec. Hi, Crime Sleuthin'. No Cousin Eddie yet. Yesterday, did you see that they, during their little out of the jury presence arguments, that they asked about if Cousin Eddie was on the list? And they said, the prosecutor says, yeah, he's on the list, but that doesn't mean that I'm actually going to call him. Hi, Sundown Farms. Hi, the dark side. They're like, that doesn't mean we're actually going to call him. But Harpootlian was like, oh, I'm looking forward to my cross-examination. Oh, I don't think there's going to be a Cousin Eddie either. They can't put him up there. They can't put him up there. They have him on the list, but I don't think they're going to put him up. Well, they're supposed to be resting today or tomorrow. So prosecution or attorney general is basically about done at this point. Hi, CB Cal. There's not much left of them that they're actually going to put up. So if you look at like the witness list, they have a ton that they actually didn't put up there. And no Randy. Hi, LC. Aw, thank you. So I know that, shoot, I should have put the poll up. Let's put the poll up. When I hear myself talking, let's put the poll up and see where everybody's at. Come on, keyboard. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna put the poll up, see what you guys think. Okay, no problem, Jen. The judge ruled it's more prejudicial than probative. So yeah, so they had this whole argument yesterday about whether the whole thing from September with the quote-unquote attempted suicide, attempted diversion, or whichever way you believe that the shooting of Alec Murdaugh was intended, they had a whole argument whether that would actually be able to, like, they'd be able to present that in court. And this morning, the judge ruled that no, you're not going to be able to present it. It's after the fact, and he's like the biggest liar. He's a liar. I know. Okay, so I know people are going to give me a lot of crap, and I get it. He is a liar, and he's a thief. But those two things do not always make a murderer. And so this is where I voted guilty, because I don't see how the defense will get around the kennel video. See, I don't think he's as bad as Letitia. I don't know many that are as bad as she is. Oh, I can't decide yet. I know. Officer Buford McDowell's body cam footage is most interesting of them all. Is that the one that gets to the scene like second or third? Is that the one you're talking about? I think that was for the flights though, K-Braze, no? Like, because it was going to cost them thousands of dollars, like, to... like, fly him back. Kennel video and second interview, it's a wrap. Yeah, the long one. Okay, yeah. That one was interesting. He lies about everything related to his timeline. So this is what gets me. So we were talking about the interview, that they only have the prosecution has questioned Detective Owen. I don't know if he's detective or special agent. I don't know his actual title. But he doesn't even tell the timeline correctly when it comes to when he was at work. So, I mean, and that obviously has nothing to do with the murders. So he just doesn't tell the right timeline. Although I'm usually devil's advocate, I thought Eddie's testimony is relevant since that goes to their motive of hiding his financial crimes. Yeah, but if they can't bring in anything to do with the shooting, then what do they bring in Eddie for? How does he help the prosecution? That's where I'm at. They won't bring him in. Hi, Britt. Where the officers theorized murder-suicide. Well, some people have thought that it was an intentional shooting to look like he was going to have himself killed, or he was going to die, just to divert the attention that, like, look, see, there really is a bad guy that's after my whole family. It's not just, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. For me, this interview that they played this morning actually fits into the whole theory I had on why he was going around and telling all these people, like, hey, say this, or hey, say that, or, you know, when he goes to, like, Blanca and he's like, where's my, you know, where was my shirt, or, you know, say something about the shirt or whatever. Because he knew that they were something that he knew they were looking at him. And Corey Fleming knew they were looking at him. Hi, Shmita. That's my issue. You were all full on donkey barbecue with Jeannie. Stop playing with these people, Alex. You know what your workday was like. I don't think he does, because I don't think that he ever had an actual workday. Like, he never had it. He didn't have to be there at 8 and leave at 5. Like, he never clocked in and out. So he just did whatever he wanted to do all the time. Hi, Corinne. It's really hard to choose an option. His family status in the community could pull some strings, but who knows? Hi, Joe. Hi, Jeanette. In my opinion, he murdered his wife and son. I think that's probably most people's opinions at this point. Let me see what the poll's saying so far. So 46% say that the jury will find him guilty, but 40, or now it's 48. Okay, a little bit more voting going on. Hung jury is 44%. That's interesting. I should have put, like, hung jury. You think he's going to be like because he's not guilty, or hung jury because you think he's guilty and they haven't done a good job. Yeah. Hi, Marshall. Long time no see. Hi, Danny. How did he know she was shot in the back of the head? Hi, Crime Curious. Hi, Peyton. It's too circumstantial. I don't know if they've actually put the puzzle pieces together quite enough. I agree. Shmita says, in my opinion, he did it too, but I worry about the beyond a reasonable doubt. It's going to be an issue that the jury got to hear Maggie's sister refer to the roadside shooting, but then nothing else. I bet they'll have questions about it, but it'll just probably go to the wayside. They have so much information to deal with in their heads. Like, hi, Kaleido Hope. Angela says, hung jury because they haven't proved it. I know he's guilty, though. Hi, Weeping Willow. Hi, 949 Sherry. I think he's guilty, but I think it may be difficult for average people on a jury to put all the evidence together. Some of it's very technical. So we're 45 guilty, 45 hung jury, 9% not guilty. So I guess here's my question. So then if you guys believe that there's not enough evidence for the jury to be able to put it all together, do you think you guys are, with a hung jury, you're thinking that some are able to put it together, but the other ones are just like, no, we can't, this isn't going to work? You don't think that there's a whole 12 of them that are going to be like, nope, this was not enough evidence and this, we cannot find them guilty, and he's going to be not guilty? So, Jojo, I'm so glad you asked that question, because I think that it's possible. I know, that's why I said everybody's going to get all like riled up. Don't get riled up on me. Don't get riled up, I promise. I'm not saying that I think he's innocent, because I do not know, but I have so many questions that lead towards this question, Jojo. I think the evidence is there, but the way it was presented that I think may result in a hung jury. And we talked about that. I talked about that when I was on Jen's panel. I think that the financial stuff really was a waste of time for them. Hi, Britt, and thank you very much. Hi, ATS. I don't think the lawyers are laying out the story in a way that the jury can fully see the picture, if that makes sense. Nope, I totally agree. I totally agree with you. Hi, Aries girl. Good to see you. I think he did it, but I wish I understood the why and reasoning behind it better. I think that's part of what I lack too, because even though they're trying to bring this whole financial situation forward as like motive, even though they don't have to prove motive, I struggle with if it is about finances, that he's not gaining money. He's not gaining monetary value from their death. There's no life insurance. So property, yes, but even the prosecution is talking about how long it takes to go through selling, real estate. Brittany, you are too kind to me. Thank you very much. And for anybody that is wondering what the heck she's talking about, so on the month was actually my 1-year anniversary on YouTube. And I was going to do a live, but I wasn't feeling very well, so I decided to skip it. But yes, so on the 11th was my 1-year actual anniversary on YouTube. 1 year from my first live about Serenity McKinney to now. Woohoo, 1 year. Come a long way. I combat that price. Hi T, listening and running. I lost your comment. Running your FedEx route. Well, thank you, Guy. Thank you, Destiny. Thank you, Dominic. Thank you, Diane. I do not know why they're not letting the jury take notes. Thank you, Jen Lu. I can't stand his voice, and when he cries, he sounds like a donkey. Well, I don't know what this whole, he has this throat thing, and I know it's a tell, and if, listening to it now over and over again, I would have to go back and listen to all the interviews and see exactly what he says when he does that with his throat, because there's something up with that. Aw, the 11th was your baby's first birthday. Aw, happy birthday, baby. I miss having a 1-year-old. Or a 2-year-old even. Thank you, Carolina. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Crime Sleuthin. He has many deaths that happened around him. Thank you, Amanda. Yeah, he has this weird thing that he does with his face. But so here's the other thing I noticed though in the interview that they're showing this morning, the one from August, he has lost a lot of weight already, and you can see just the huge difference in just his body at that point. Wonder why they didn't add charges of conspiracy to commit murder just in case they can't prove it. He did it himself. At least they can get him on aiding. I don't think that they would. That'd be like a double charge almost at that point, I think, because they think he actually did it. They think they can't try to prove he pulled the trigger and then also try to prove that he conspired to pull the trigger in case he didn't do it. You know what I'm saying? They could do it he conspired to, if they think it was him and somebody else, but then they'd have to present that in court. Otherwise, it would be very confusing. How is he conspiring to pull the trigger himself and then hide it from everybody? You see what I'm saying? So they'd have to come forward, which would kill their whole prosecution, is if they come forward, then they would have to... Who gifted memberships? Shmida, thank you. Thank you, Shmeed. They'd have to be able to say... Or they'd have to bring forth okay, we think him and whomever, Cousin Eddie or whomever, we think they both did it. Now they're going to give reasonable doubt to the fact that Alec even did it. It would totally open the door to too many problems for them. They can't do that. And then they will not be able to go back and charge him later because that would fall under double jeopardy. Hi, Twisted Gemini. Who got him? Let me see who got him. Can I see who got him? Get out of here, you little pop-up window. Why is it not letting me go? I can't get rid of my pop-up window. There it is. Does it tell me who got them? 949 Sherry and Joe. Thelma's Louise. Diane Marie. Oh, Combat Vet Price. Oh, cool. Thank you. Yeah, thank goodness that the COVID did not spread. The 2 of them got it, because now we're only down to 3 alternates. But this trial should probably be done by the end of next week, beginning, well, there's only 4 days next week because they don't have court on Monday. So I'm going to say probably by mid the following week. Still pretty long, though. Aww. It is. It's so bizarre. It's so bizarre. Okay. So I spent some time, and I know that there's a lot of these out there now, but I spent some time. I had to wrap my own brain around it, and I like a good timeline. So I had to spend some time making a timeline of my own. Hi, LFT. Speaking of good timelines, LFT I know has put a lot of work into hers too over on Decipher podcast. So let me go over here because this kind of leads me to where I go back and forth. Remember, he didn't have a pot to piss in to hire anybody. That's true, Dominic, because he was broke, which is ironic in the whole thing. Is that he told Mark Tinsley that he didn't have any money, that there was no way he could pay $10 million. And then he truly doesn't have any money, not accessible anyway, because I'm sure he has some hidden somewhere, but that's totally different. Ooh, Crime Sleuthin', I did, and I know that Law and Crime did too. So it was just a second. It was a split second, and they did it twice, actually, and that I know of. They did it when the prosecution was up there, and then they also did it when the defense was up there. Parte. I know, you should come up and we should compare timelines. So I know yours is probably much more thorough than mine. Joe said, I'm totally ignoring my meeting on Teams right now. This is a meeting, and we are a team. So you can mark it down as you did what you were supposed to. You had a meeting with your team. Hi, NorCal Jim. Hi, Tamara. Did Mallory come in? Hi, Mallory. Okay, this is kennel pictures. Sorry, it was in the wrong screen. Okay. Can you see my screen right now? No, I can't see your screen right now. That's why I said, well, so pull up your screen right now, and then you can tell me, like, if you have something. So what I did notice, there's a couple that have, like, the seconds are a little off. So it's interesting because seconds matter. And if you notice, like, the name of the live is 19 seconds, and I'll explain kind of why. Okay, let me see. Can you guys can you see this very well? How do I make this bigger? How do I make this bigger for you guys to be able to see it? No, that's not going to work. Let me go this way. And then let me zoom in on it. Okay, hold on. No, that changed this one. I don't want this one changed. You can just make it bigger too. Control plus A, then increase your font size on everything. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. It's like, I can see it so clearly on my own. Okay, let's try this. This might help. All right, let's see if you guys can see now. How's that? Is that better? Hi, Weeping Willow. Hi, Chrissy. Okay, is that good? You guys can see it now? Perfecto. Okay. So a lot of this is kind of just stuff. And if you want to go through all of it, then we can totally go through all of it. But it was just me trying to put together like how their day would look so I could visualize it. For anybody who doesn't know me, I like to hear, I like to read, I mean, I like to see, and then I have to do. Like that's the way I learn. It's the way I process things much better. So I like to listen to like other people go through things, and then I have to be able to do it myself too, because otherwise I can't fully picture it. So the green is all Alex stuff, the yellow is all Maggie, and then the blue is all Paul. So if you guys want to go through it from the beginning and just read straight through it, is that better for you guys? Because obviously I've read through it, so I want to do whatever works for you guys. If you want to read through the day as a whole that I know of anyway. Okay, so we can go through it. So we did learn that she calls her sister sometime, and I haven't added that on here yet. So we know that she calls her sister sometime during that day. We don't have a time. Okay, so we'll just go straight through it then. Okay, so we know earlier in the day that he's placing some FaceTime calls that he's not getting any answers to. We don't know who he's calling though. Then Maggie's texting Blanca, "Thank you. I'm waiting at the doctor. Alex wants me to come home. I have to leave the door open at Edisto. I trust Mexicans to shut and lock for me. His dad is back in hospital. No cancer. It's pneumonia." So this is at 3:55 in the afternoon. Then Maggie texts Blanca, "Alex is about to die. Hope he doesn't go down there to sleep. Alex needs to take care of himself as well." So I'm assuming this is Alex is about to die because he's so stressed out. This is kind of what Blanca testifies to. I hope he doesn't go down there to sleep. I'm assuming at the hospital. But so here's one thing I want you guys to pay attention to. And for anybody listening to the trial, you guys know they keep talking about that she went there that night to go to the hospital to visit his dad. Her sister actually testifies and says that she went there and she thought they were both going to go to his parents' house to visit his parents. But nowhere in these conversations does she actually say that she is going to go visit his dad. And I'm going to bring up another point as we go through the timeline on why I do not believe they were going to visit his dad that night at all anyway. Oh, MK, thank you for joining. I don't think they were going to visit his dad that night regardless. Maybe she would have gone to the hospital the next day, but he also talks about, and her sister talks about, that she did not really like seeing Alex's mom in the condition that she was in. So the chances of her actually going to Alameda with him that night was probably not. If somebody else gift memberships? MK, thank you. Thank you very much. Peyton got one. Danny got one. That's all I can see. Oh, there they are. Amanda got one. Oh, Crime Sleuthing got one. And Jeannie got one. Thank you very much. It's very nice of you. I appreciate it. And I'm sure they appreciate it. Somebody was driving and I missed the message. Where'd it go? Oh, working but listening. Hi, Tisha. Hi, S. Hockett. So it's sounding like Alex made her come home to see his dad because he was going to die. Well, I think that they definitely knew that his time was less, but I don't think they were going to go that night. And like I said, when we get to that part in the timeline, I'll kind of tell you why. But she doesn't say like, "Hey, I'm going to go there to visit his dad." At the conversation she has, she talks to her sister about how she's worried about Alec. She talks to Blanca about how she's worried about Alec. And then she goes there, but everybody says she goes there so that she could go see his dad and his mom and dad. But it doesn't really make sense. Sounds to me like she's going there because she wants to see Alec and make sure he's okay. Hi, Aussie True Crime. So Blanca replies, "Yes, he does. He told me he was tired when he left. I hope they can treat Mr. Randolph and make him comfortable." Then Maggie receives a text from Alex, says, "How's your doctor's appointment?" She replies with waiting as usual. There's no times on these because I don't have a time for when these were actually sent or received. Then Maggie texts Blanca, I'm scared for him and Alec and all of us, referring to Randolph's medical condition. And Blanca replies, let me scroll down a little bit so you guys can see that. Blanca replies, I know, just pray about it, and I hope he gets a little better. Alec, you really need to relax. Always being on the go with little to no sleep is not healthy. I have a doctor's appointment in the morning in Beaufort. If I go to Moselle, I will let you know. Yes, he does. He told me he was tired when he left. I hope they can treat Mr. Randolph and make him comfortable. So, MK, you're working and listening. I love it. We get so much work done this way. Or you guys do anyway. Okay, so then here's Alec placing another FaceTime call, no answer. Then Alec receives the group text from John Marvin where he says that his dad is in room 632. The nurse says we can alternate visits. So this was interesting to me too, because I don't remember who was on the stand, but they brought up that they asked one of the witnesses and they said, did you know that Alec's dad was actually put in the hospital? Oh, I think it was her sister, because they said, did you know that Alex was put into the hospital at like 4:30 that day? And she said, no, I wasn't aware of it till later. But if you remember from Finance Jeannie, she says that he got the call earlier in the day that his dad was back in the hospital, and that at 4:30 is when he calls her to ask her about his 401k. So like how long, what's the time frame there? That was one of the things I was wondering, because like they made that like a big deal, like how he stayed at the office, but he doesn't even know what room he's in or anything until 4:48. And I just want to be very clear, like I'm trying to look at this as uninfluenced by the fact that I know everybody thinks this man is guilty. So I'm trying to see, okay, but how do these things make this man guilty? That's what I'm trying to see. Like, I do not necessarily believe that he's innocent, but I'm not convinced he's guilty. Does that make sense? So I'm trying to look at it as if this man is innocent. How do these things actually make sense if he's innocent? Hi, Peppermint Tea. Oh, thank you, Aussie True Crime. Lisa says, Alex was stressed because of finances. That's why he couldn't sleep. I think he was probably just stressed about life in general. He had so much crap going on with his family, with the lawsuits, with money, with just crazy. Okay, so that's when he gets the message at 4:48. 4:48. He receives another text, and this is when he reads both of his texts. He doesn't read either of those texts until 5:10. So he says that he didn't think he was at the office until 6 o'clock, but this kind of looks like he was at the office, because this is when he starts walking, is at 6:02:51. He starts walking, stops walking, and then here's his step count, 49. There's some interesting thing about the step counts, but I don't want to go back and forth too much, so I'll talk about that later. So then 6:14 starts walking again. 6:23 stops walking, 173 steps. 6:42 starts walking again. 6:43 stops, 57 steps. 6:52 starts again. 7:02, then he has 283 steps. 283 steps comes up a lot, just FYI. Then we have Paul at 6:54, whose step count starts, and then at 7:03 it stops. He walks 106 steps. So you can start to see right here, this is when they're definitely together. This is when you're going to have like the Snapchat video that's made, so on and so forth. So you can just see him walking together and doing things together. So 7:03, his Paul stops. 7:03, Alex starts. 7:11, Alex stops. You guys can take a look through those. This is when they're out. What does he say? Hammering around? No, what does he call it? He has like a whole thing that he calls it. Going around the farm. So back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So then at 7:38, the Snapchat video is recorded of Alex with the tree. And at 7:39, it's uploaded to Paul's Snapchat. Are you out of here already, Dominic? I didn't see you say goodbye, so maybe that was it. All right, well, have a good one if you are. Dynamite says, I want to watch the third interview again and count the lies. That Corey guy who was with him is in jail now. I thought he just got out. Is he actually still in jail? And I didn't pay too much attention to that. So Yeah, Alex said he got home at 5:30. Lie. This is what I'm saying, though, Lisa, is that his whole entire day is wrong. So it's not like he's just lying around the time frame there. He doesn't know the time for crap. He doesn't know the time for anything. Hi, Sniper. AM very well may be guilty or be involved in the murders, but the state has produced zero evidence that he pulled the trigger. In my opinion, they're killing to buy time on financials this week. Yep. I agree with you. Leave your alleles and your touch DNA on the like button. Okay, FT. If mom didn't have a caretaker and she wasn't in bed sleeping, I'd be thinking different on why he went to mom's. I think it was like, well, I effed up. Better go see mom before I can't again. Maybe. At least that's what Alex didn't know about. Okay, so we got the Snapchat video now, and then we have them 7:41 and 7:45. They both start walking. 7:48, 7:55. They both stop walking. This is when Maggie calls Barbara Mixon. They talk on the phone for a couple of minutes at 7:50, 7:53. So my opinion is this is when she's still driving there. 7:55, Alex starts walking again. And then 7:56 is when Will Loving gets the Snapchat video. And then 8:05, Alex stops walking. We've got more steps, both of them kind of coinciding with each other. Same thing. Here we go. Alex up and down, up and down, up and down. Paul starts his step count starts. Here's 8:17. Maggie's phone is unplugged from the charger. This is when she is arriving at Moselle. So 8:17 p.m. She's arriving at Moselle. She's on the phone in her car. She unplugs the phone from the charger. This time is why I do not believe that there was ever any intention on going over to the hospital that night. Maybe the next day, but not that night. Because how many times do you go to the hospital to visit somebody at 8:20 at night? Even but she'd asked Blanca to cook dinner, so they still have to sit down and eat dinner. So how many times do you go to the hospital at 8:20 at night to visit somebody? What time is visiting hours over at this hospital? Who would have wanted them dead? I don't know. This is once again, like I said, I'm not saying that he didn't do it, but who would have wanted him dead? Obviously, this guy owed a lot of people a lot of money. So they gave motive. The prosecution thinks they're giving motive on the finances of why Alec did it. But in my opinion, they're really giving motive on why somebody else would do it. If this guy owed money to bad people, I'll tell you that whole theory as we get there, when we talk more about the pathologist that took the stand. Most visiting hours are over at 9. Yep. So are you going to go, you're going to get to the house, you're going to eat dinner, and then you're going to go visit? Who's Megan K? That's Paul's friend that he was texting with about the movies. Okay, so then you got Maggie gets out of her car, then she walks 38 steps, which I find interesting as well. The 38 steps, she gets out of the car, takes her 38 steps to go from the car to the house, right? That's what that's basically saying. Then you have Paul at 8:21, who now stops to sit down. This is why I said this is the approximate time of dinner, because if you notice, everybody's step count stops right around here. And this is approximately when they're eating dinner. So Paul receives a text from Megan K. You didn't send me any movie recommendations at 8:29:17. He reads the text. He responds, haha, I didn't have a good one. Then he says Will's might. And I'm not sure if that's like his friend might have one, because it's of like, maybe ask him, like there's some type of insight, like she's not going to talk to him, because she says OMG. And then he reads the text 3 seconds later, and then he responds, haha, kidding. They don't give us the time of that, though. Let me see what you guys think. Dinner minutes before murders. Right. What did you think, if anything, about the comment of her wedding ring being under the seat of her car? I find it very interesting that her wedding ring was under the seat of the car, because it was cleaned after coming back from SLED. So why didn't they find the wedding ring underneath the seat of the car? It's just, I think it's just a girl, the girl that he's talking to. If they didn't find a wedding ring under the seat of the car, what else didn't they find in the car? Not that there was anything to find, but those times are for most people without status, I'm sure. Where in there is Alex's nap? So his nap would be right here after dinner, where he says he slept for about 20 to 30 minutes. Aw. You got your membership. He lured them both to Moselle and told lies on both counts. But how did he lie to Maggie? And how did he lie to Paul even? How did he lie? Because he told Maggie that his dad was in the hospital and that they said that, you know, it's probably not going to go well. Like he's not going to make it. There's nothing else they can do for him. I don't get the whole lured part. That confuses me. And I think, Lisa, I think you're trying to say lured too. He lured her home that day. But how did he lure her? He said that my dad's sick and she was worried about him, so she went. I just don't see it being a lure. That's my only thing. If he just found out people are on him for missing money and during that found out dad's not going to make it, plus Paul might have admitted driving and Maggie wanted that all over also. Yep. Who did Maggie tell Alex he was acting fishy? Great question. Because we don't have that. I don't have that in my timeline. LFT, are you still in here? Do you have that in yours? I wonder if Alex planted the ring to make it look like Sled missed it. So somebody did ask about if it would be that not everybody gets buried with their jewelry, that sometimes that they give the jewelry back to the family, that if he had gotten it back. But then he would have had to have been in the car from the point that they'd gotten the car back and she was cleaning it to find the ring. And from my understanding, Blanca is the one that went and picked up the car and then was cleaning it up. So I don't think he would have had time to plant it. I mean, unless you're saying like he planted it that night. Hi, little Kazati. He lied to Ellie. Well, there's no doubt in my mind the dude's a liar. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I get it. So I'm trying to figure out in the timeline, does it make sense that this would actually happen? Alex stood there next to the kennels, constantly trying to call people on his cell phone instead of being frantic that his wife and his son were murdered brutally. But what if that was him frantic? She did have her nails done. She could have taken her rings off and then they fell out of her pocket. Possible. Yep. Also, why does family say he's always going to his parents, but caretakers say it was unusual? Was that really where he was going all those times? I just wonder, they didn't bring in any of the caretakers from the daytime. So like, what if he does typically visit right after work, right? Or, you know, I think that the coworkers testified that he would visit on his lunch hour a lot. So I think the whole point of him visiting that night was that the time of the visit was very unusual, not the fact that he was visiting. All of his actions show guilt. And I respect that. But to me, they don't show guilt. So this is kind of where the crossroads comes in, because I don't see his actions as showing guilt. I told Alec everything. Hi, Teresa. ATS says he's so manipulative and thinks as a lawyer would. Oh yeah, for sure. What I think that's also, hi TT. Can't chat but listening. I know that's a lot of people right now. They're just like, we're running around, we're doing this. Hi Maria. I was driving before. Yes, here. Will you repeat what time I need to look in the timeline? We were talking about who did Maggie text, or what time did she text saying that something was up, like something was up with him. I think she had a manicure and a pedicure. I think she had both. My hubby, 15 years clean and sober, said he used to always take a long drive to use, then go home. So very possible. Criminality. You'd be good in some area of law. You have a good brain. LOL. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Ah, the eye in the sky. Ironically, I am Christy, and the eye in the sky agree with me. I still wonder about SW's wedding ring. Okay, so he says that he took a nap after dinner. So we know that they eat dinner at approximately 8:19. And he says they eat dinner for about 10 to 15 minutes. Or does he say 15-20? But either way, it's like right around 15 minutes. So if we put 8:20, so 8:35. 8:35, he supposedly is laying down for a nap. I don't have that in here because I don't have a concrete that's what it is, but I can add it. Let's see if LFT finds the other one. So here, we'll put Alex nap for about 20 minutes. And this would have been at approximately, because he says 15, they ate dinner for about 15 minutes, so at 8:35. And then we'll turn this green. Okay, so let me go back up and see what I got. I think there's a lot of family secrets that we will never know, especially if the killer thought about doing it for a very long time. Curious Cat, I'm so glad that you brought up that, because that's exactly what he supposedly said to her sister. Was that whoever did this thought about doing it for a very long time. He wanted to clear Paul's name and end the boat case, and Maggie wanted to move because community shunned her. So they'd sold the house in Hampton where the community was giving her a hard time. They sold that house. They had... I'm over here trying to get to guilty. Hi, Jane Doe. I've been streaming to the TV and it doesn't allow me to comment. Oh. Don't put my face on the TV. That is too big. It's too much. Paul was the one texting with Megan K. Yeah, Paul was the one texting with Megan. The blue is Paul. I believe MM was messaging talking about wanting her to come to Moselle around 3:55. Yes, but do you have an actual time for this whole... You remember there's the whole thing where she supposedly said that Alec was acting odd or that something was up, or I don't remember the exact terminology. I may have to go back and listen to the testimony. No worries, Jane. I'm just happy you're here. Checking another spreadsheet tab as well to see what else we have noted. One moment. Okay, thank you. Okay, so he supposedly takes this nap right after dinner, right? Where he says he just sits down for, he sits in the recliner or whatever, lays on the couch, and that's it. But his sister-in-law, her sister does say he typically lays down after dinner. I just have a question too. This is totally just a personal question. They have Blanca making dinner and leaving it on the stove at like 3:30, 4 o'clock, right? They don't eat dinner until after 8. Like, is the food just sitting there? It's just sitting there? I don't know. It's just, I don't like it. Okay, thank you. Eye in the sky. Thank you. Okay, so let me get this one off here real quick. Maggie's sister made it like he pressured her to go to Moselle. But even Blanca said like there was no pressure in that they all agreed that she should go. Okay, LFT said she's got it. I'll type out my email real quick. Maybe if my keyboard wants to work. I'm telling you, nothing over here wants to work right now. Okay. Okay, so where were we at? Alex is supposedly taking a nap. Well, we know that they would have been done with dinner because we have Paul who's walking now and we have Maggie who's walking now, right? So they're done with dinner at 8:32, 8:33 because they're all up. So it makes sense that dinner was probably from, if you look at when everybody stops walking, he doesn't actually stop walking until 8:21. And then he's got his phone at the dinner table. And then Maggie's receiving texts and reading them at 8:31. And she starts walking again at 8:30. So we got like 8:21 to 8:30 and then nobody's walking around. So dinner takes about approximately 9 minutes. I think it's kind of strange too. The food just sitting out, then sitting there until the next day. Oh yeah, it's just gross to me. I'm just like, I don't think I could eat food that had just been sitting out for like 4 hours. I agree. Dinner 4 hours after it's made doesn't sound appetizing. Also, I go to bed at 8:30. That's too late for dinner. We do have to have dinner late sometimes just based on kids' sports, but typically dinner is, 6:30 every night. K-Braze, did Maggie have doubts on going? I don't know. I don't see that. Hold on, LFT, did you have one before this? text 7:55:26 and 7:57 messages mentioning going to Moselle and AM's dad. 7:55:26. I don't have that. Who's that to? 7:55:26. text 7:55:26 and 7:57:16 messages mentioning going to Moselle and AM's dad. All right. You send that to me or tell me who's she texting that to, and then I'm gonna look at my email real quick. See what Crime Sleuth sent. Oh, let me see this one. Oh goodness. Okay. This is somebody else's timeline. This is at. This looks very similar to mine, and I'm not sure. Do you have something in here that's a little different, possibly, or no? Let me see. Maggie, cell tower. Jeannie said Alex still in the office. John Marvin to the group. Let's see. Trying to look for the messages to her sister. Or those. Okay, I don't see them on there, but I'll look through it. I'll look through it and compare it to mine. Do we know whose this is? Oh, Brandy Church. Okay, Brandy Church on Twitter. How'd they not get roaches? I don't know, man. And like South Carolina, that's got some nasty bugs there. First thing out of his mouth was boat case to police. Okay, so I'll tell you my side of that. What if it was somebody from the boat case, and so he knew that that's who would be after his family? What if that's who it was? What if it was somebody from there? You got Maggie who's getting shunned out of Hampton. You've got Paul who's receiving threats even though they're not taking him overly seriously. Somebody's saying that Paul's been actually like hit because of the whole thing. I don't know. When looking at him in interviews, he looks guilty. He definitely doesn't cry the way I would think that he would cry. He doesn't do, necessarily the things that I think that he should do. But messages, we will be home. Messages, she will be home. See you in a few hours. We'll be home to see you in a few hours. Who's she sending that to? Because she's already about to be home. Who's she going to see in a few hours? All right, I'll look at that. Big thing was no human trace evidence. All those swatches from the shirt and nothing. Nada. Hi, Peace Jam. The nasty bugs is why I live where the air hurts my face. The air doesn't hurt my face here, and I don't have giant, nasty, weird bugs like South Carolina and Florida. Yeah, can you, LFT? Would you mind? Okay, so let's keep going, and then we may be updating this. But there's another part that I want to do before I got to do school runs, so I want to make sure that we get there. The police suspected that while they can't explain the brains on the ceiling, and the state has not brought that up, so I bet defense will. Well, I think that was where he was leading with the pathologist. So, okay, let's finish going through this, so then that way we can get to the other parts. Okay, I scrolled back up, so let's go back down here. Dun dun dun. I went too far. Okay, so 8:31, he gets the message from Lynn. He doesn't actually read those messages till the next day. Paul gets a phone call that he ignores, and then this is supposedly when Alex takes a nap this is approximate. I really should put approximate because this is not an exact time. I'll fix it. Paul calls Rogan at 8:40. Then he's walking around another 283 steps. 283 steps is very common. The phone call with Rogan ends at 8:44. Paul FaceTimes Rogan for 11 seconds because they can't get the signal. Then at 8:44:49 is when the video is being recorded of Cash. Then 8:45:47 the video recording ends. At 8:48:05 he texts Megan, "A Star is Born is the move." I think it just says "Star is Born is the move," which is the recommendation. She responds, "No, I need something happy." He receives the text from her that says, "Also, don't like watching sad movies." At 8:48:59, Paul reads both of those text messages. At 8:49:01, Paul's phone locks. That's it. That's it for Paul's phone. Hi, Christine. Blanca and Maggie didn't want to leave Beach House, but Alex really wanted her to come. She didn't want to leave the beach house because of the people working on it and that she had to trust them to lock up. But that doesn't necessarily mean that she didn't want to go home. She just didn't want to leave them working on it. The defense wasn't trying to imply suicide from the shotgun blast to Paul's head, but that it was a contact wound and not fired from a distance of 3 to 4 feet. Right. So it would imply different angles, which could imply a different shooter is, I think, the direction that they're going to go. That's my thought. Because they want it to be a contact wound coming from the back and coming out the other way. So they want that to be the entrance wound, which to me also then means that it's somebody shooting from a different angle, which we can talk about the angles too. So hold on. Okay, so here is where 8:49:01 is when Paul's phone locks. So we know at 8:48:59 he's alive. He reads both the text messages, right? Don't get me started on Blanca yet, Christine. I'm not there yet. Okay, so Maggie's phone is actually on. Her display turns on. Her phone unlocks at 8:49:26. At 8:49:27, Maggie reads the text message from Lynn in the group. At 8:49:31, so 30 seconds after Paul's, Maggie's phone locks. So 30 seconds in between the two is what I've got. So here, Rogan texts Paul, see if you can get a good picture of it. This text is never read. Now, Maggie's phone display turns on. The step count on her phone starts. The phone orientation changes. The camera turns on for 1 second. This is when the expert says that he believes they're trying to get like face recognition on the phone, but it won't unlock. That's why the camera comes on for 1 second. Maggie's phone orientation changes to landscape. It changes back to portrait. It changes again at 8:55. Step counts are still happening at 8:55, and she has steps at 9 p.m., but they don't say how many, which I find very interesting as well, why that wasn't actually talked about, like how many she had there. Alex step count starts, and then you have stuff happening with the vehicle. Let's see. I'm excited to hear your thoughts on Blanca. This will be good. Oh, goodness. Christine's got me all up into a Blanca rabbit hole. Hi, Aries. Okay. So now we have Alex's phone has not done anything during this, since for dinner, this whole nap, and then being at the kennels or not at the kennels, depending on which version you believe. Hold on, Crafter. Are all these phone? I bet he's carrying her phone. Well, somebody's carrying the phone. It's definitely moving. I also wondered if this is actually the phone. Is the phone changing orientation multiple times as she's being killed? I've thought about this. And you guys tell me what you think. Obviously, I don't know that to be true. But is this all happening because her body is moving? If the phone is in her hand, she's just read this message, right? At 8:49:27, she reads this message from Lynn. The phone locks. It's in her hand still, most likely. It's only 4 seconds later. And then we have all these things happening with the phone. So is this when she's being killed, or was she killed right here at 8:49:31, which is what they think happened, is that Paul doesn't respond to anything else or ever send that message to Rogan, because this is when they're killed, is at 8:50 basically. So prosecution would say all this movement with Maggie's phone would be the killer holding the phone. Yeah, we have to do a solid Blanca talk soon. There's a lot to that. It's a lot deeper than I think that is portrayed just by looking at this trial. And I'm surprised that defense, I shouldn't say I'm not surprised. The defense has already opened up so many cans of worms, they need to probably just keep their mouth shut at this point. So now we have the vehicle starting up, or the system, not the vehicle itself. The OnStar, the infotainment system is like booting up. They said this could be from like a door opening, anything like that. It could have like hit the unlock button. I think this would be interesting because now they have the GM guys who have figured out so much. The trial's back on. Okay. They figured out so much to do with the car that I don't know if we're actually going to get to hear any of it or not. Because it just is like, yes, it was complex. Yes, we found it. And yes, here it is. 9:03, that's when the system boots up. 9:04:23, he calls Maggie, no answer. 9:06, her phone orientation changes again. 9:06, Alex calls Maggie again, no answer. This is all within seconds. Maggie's phone orientation changes again. Alex's step count starts another 283 steps. So I'm curious if where all their vehicles were parked at the house. So if he has to if he's walking from the house out to his car, and it's 283 steps, right? And obviously they're not 100% accurate, but 283 steps is a lot different than the 30-some steps that Maggie took getting out of her car and going into the house when she arrived at Moselle. So 9:06 is when the vehicle starts. 9:06:50 is when it's taken out of park. 9:06:51 calls Maggie again, no answer. So 9:04, 9:06, 9:06, 9:08, texts her, going to check on M, be right back. She doesn't obviously ever read that text. So we know that they are most likely dead before he leaves, because nothing ever happens with them reading the text messages again. They don't reply to anything. They don't answer any calls, nothing. Maybe the facial recognition was her trying to call 911. Could have been, or she could have just had the phone in her hand, is kind of what I think. And even if it did, it like tried to swipe up, but she didn't leave it long enough. If somebody else has it, I don't know. That's kind of one of my questions. I don't know. Or is that all she's killed and this is what happens? Let's let's see, where were we at? Oh, going to M's. Okay, 9:10, Paul misses a call from Rogan. 9:22, the vehicle's in park. So here we go. We've got him driving from the house, 9:06:50 to 9:22. You got the 16 minutes, approximately 16 minutes it takes to get to his mom's house. 9:29, Paul misses a call from Rogan again. 9:31, he would be in his mom's house. So Maggie's phone display is on. Maggie receives the text from Rogan, tell Paul to call me. So those are, you know, within 3 minutes of each other. But he's at his mom's house right now. So what's happening with Maggie's phone? 9:42, Paul misses a call from Rogan. So now 9:43, the vehicle's taken out of park. 9:43:59 puts the vehicle back in park. 9:44:54, vehicle taken out of park. And one thing I purposely did not add, he has a lot of calls with Chris that are happening in this thing, in this time frame. Without it, I didn't add them with the intention of not adding them, because to me, we know he's not there at that time, and we know he's on the phone back and forth, so it didn't really matter. But anyway, so I didn't add them on purpose. Maybe I should, but I just didn't. So he's at his mom's, vehicle goes back in park. 9:44:54, he takes it back out of park. So something's happening in this minute, almost 2 full minutes that he's sitting there in the driveway at his parents' house. Like, that's one of my questions, is what's happening? 9:43:05, takes it out of park. 9:43:59, puts it back in park, and then he sits there, and then he takes it back out of park. What's he doing? Rogan's calling because supposedly something might be wrong with his dog, and he's trying to get this video from Paul, or a photo from Paul, so they can figure out what's wrong with his dog. Her steps do not reflect her walking to the kennels. No. Neither of their steps reflect them walking to the kennels. So we can go back up and look, because the most steps at 8:33, she has 43. Paul has, at 8:42, has 283. At 8:30 is when, so she walks from 8:30 to 8:33, and she only walks 43 steps, approximately, remember. Hi, Roxanne. Oh, thank you, Lisa. What is going on? Dogs are like moving around under my legs. Okay, let's go back down here. Where were we at? We're at Maggie's phone. Okay, here's when he's getting ready to leave his mom's. So 9:44, takes the vehicle out of park, and calls Maggie again. Paul misses another call from Rogan at 9:47. Alex texts Maggie, call me, babe. Text is never read. 9:58, Paul receives the text from Rogan saying, yo. Not at 10 o'clock, vehicle's back into park, and 10:01, vehicle's taken out of park. So before we get here, so now we have another 16 minutes. Vehicle's taken out of park at his parents' house at 9:44. He gets back to the house, parks at 10 o'clock, another 16 minutes. So this is, you know, one of the times they're trying to say that he would have thrown, that he had to go dispose of her phone. So, but he wasn't in one of these cars disposing of her phone then, because you don't have her orientation changing when he's at the car, because her orientation's changing up here, 8:53, 8:54, 8:54, 8:54, 8:55. But he's not back. He's not in a car until 9:03. So not in this car anyway. That's what I'm saying. So that's interesting to me, because they're trying to say he did it at that time when all the orientations were changing. So he arrives home. So this is where my big issue comes in, and why I go, okay, this is why I think that one of my 3 main reasons why I think that he would be guilty. At 10 o'clock, he gets home, the vehicle's in park. At 10:01, takes the vehicle out of park. At 10:01:29, the vehicle's back in park. At 10:01:30, it's back out of park, and then it's back in park at 10:01:43. Okay, so this is weird to me. So if he gets home at 10, does he have to open the gate? Is that something that any of you guys actually know? Do you have to physically get out to open the gate? So does he stop and open the gate at 10 o'clock and 36 seconds? So he puts it into park, and then he takes it out of park to drive it towards the house. So then he drives it towards the house, puts it back into park. So he puts it back into park at the house, goes, wait a minute, nobody's here. So then I'll drive down to the kennels because they must still be down there, right? So the vehicle's taken out of park, and then the vehicle's back in park at 10:01:43. So here's the thing that gets me. If this is when he arrives down there at 10:01:43, and then he goes and checks on everything, that makes sense, right? He has enough time to go check the bodies, check their pulse, do all the things that he says that he did. But if he's already there and he sees that they're dead, why is he calling Maggie's phone at 10:03:58? Right? He sees they're dead. So he can't be down there. He can't be down there. Thank you, LFT. I'll take a look at it. So he's not going to call her phone if he's at the scene checking pulses and things like that. Do you see what I'm saying? So this cannot be that where he drives down there. So why the vehicle goes in and out of park 3 times right here, I don't understand. He goes into park, he gets out, opens the gate, goes back into drive, drives to the house, sees that nobody's there, and leaves. You see what I'm saying? Like, this just does not add up. Now, if, say he opens the gate, gets back in, drives to the house, gets to the house, parks it, parks the car, right, at the house, goes, wait a minute, it's dark, let me go back, let me go over here, wait, hold on, let me stop right here before I get down there, call Maggie again, no answer. Maggie's phone has Find My iPhone running in the background. At 10:04:44, the system powers down, which means the car's like shut off, and like the infotainment system is shutting down. 10:04:49, it's back up and going, and vehicle's taken out of park. At 10:05:55, the vehicle's back in park. So if he drives to the kennels here at 10:04:49, and the vehicle's taken out of park because he leaves the front of the house, right? And he drives down to the kennels, 10:05:55, the vehicle is now in park. At 10:06:14, he originally calls the wrong number, calls 9111, and then he hangs up, and at 10:06:18, he calls 911. So now, if this is the time that he actually arrives down at the kennels at 10:05:55, the car goes into park, he has 19 seconds that he has to get out of his truck, check both of them, roll Paul over, check pulses, pick up a phone, drop a phone, go check on Maggie, get back towards his car. The Find My iPhone's running in the background. I didn't type it. So he has 19 seconds to check everybody and then to call 911. Okay, so let's see. Puts it in park, opens gate, puts it in drive, pulls in, puts it in park, closes gate, drive. Okay, so let's do it that way then. Okay, so you have the vehicle, so puts it in park, opens the gate, takes it out of park, drives through the gate, puts it back in park to go close the gate, and takes it out of park to go drives to the house, puts the car into park, calls Maggie, and goes, okay, that I can go with that timeline, because he's not going to call Maggie if he's already at the kennels at this point. Yes, that's what you said. Sorry, I wasn't reading. Let me see. Okay, I think 10 to 10:01:43 was when he was at the house. He got to the truck to drive to kennel, but dialed Maggie from his previous call there. 10:04, he arrived at the kennel. You can see lights only at the kennels from the house. He definitely started to panic between 10 and 10:05. He looks shocked. So we're back at this whole only 19 seconds then. There's only 19 seconds where he was able to get out of the car, go check them both, or his car still has to be, pretty darn close, or the truck has to be pretty darn close to where the bodies are too, because these 911 calls are picked up by the OnStar system. Finally, Joe. Jeez, that took forever. Love vehicle telematics. He looks shocked. He did look shocked, but then in the interview, he's also like, "Are you guys going to be able to get anything from?" There was no gates there at the time of the shooting. The gates went up after June 7th. That front gate, that big old front gate, did it? I don't know. So if that's the case, then that's going to throw a whole nother question out there. Can we find that out, LFT? Will you dig into that and let me know? In the police body cam, you can see Alex truck is parked directly facing Maggie. He said he ran to Paul first. Yeah. So this is where my big issue comes in, is that he has 19 seconds. 19 seconds to check everybody. So calls 911. Wrong number, calls 911, the actual 911. It has to be rerouted to his county, so it gets rerouted at 10:07:09. At 10:08, Paul misses a call from Rogan. At 10:11, the vehicle is taken out of park. At 10:12:38, the vehicle is back in park, which is when he tells the 911 operator that he's going up to the house to get a gun. So then the vehicle's taken out of park, and they don't actually tell us what time it gets put back in park. So at 10:13:39, we know he's driving back down to the kennels. And so then Alex starts calling Rogan. He also calls his brothers in here somewhere, but I haven't added them in. I don't know why I didn't add them in, but I just didn't. He calls his brother somewhere right in here. And he also calls, what's his name? The other friend, Tootin. Paul's other friend. Calls him too somewhere right in here. But these were interesting to me because at 10:08, Paul misses a call from Rogan. At 10:21, Alex calls Rogan. At 10:24, Alex calls Rogan. 10:25, Alex calls Rogan. 10:25:49, he's placing a FaceTime call to somebody we don't. I don't know why that doesn't have the right spelling. And then, oh shoot. The first officer gets there at about 10:26, and then Alex is calling Rogan again with no answer. Come on. There we go. He called brother at 10:26 because first officer was there. Then, yep, that's on my So he calls his brother and stuff. Right in here, and then at 10:34:23, Paul's phone actually dies. So then it made me curious if while he's waiting for them to come, if this is when he's actually over there like checking on him, because would it make sense that he sees the missed call from Rogan at 10:08, and so that's why he starts calling Rogan? These are my questions. It's suspicious how many times he called Maggie. And why didn't he ever call Paul? Like when my mom doesn't answer the phone over and over again, I call my dad's phone. You know what I mean? Like, why didn't he ever call Paul? Like, hey, your mom's not answering. Where the hell are you guys? What are you guys doing? Why did he call Buster? Hey, have you heard from your mom? Yeah, I would have called Paul. Plus, didn't he say he went and got a gun from the house? What time? What did he do? What did he do that after he seen them? Yeah, so he goes and gets the gun at 10:11. 10:11:45, he gets in the truck and drives back to the house. So well, he starts calling the family supposedly right after he hangs up with 911. Hi, Miss K. Liar, liar, pants on fire. So this was my big one. I was like, okay, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Now his story really doesn't add up. He didn't touch them in those clothes without having any blood on him. I agree. So that's what I'm going to go to. So he says that he touched them. He did not touch them. So that's a big lie. Because I think a lot of the other things are more easily talked out of for a jury. The fact, like the whole, everybody goes like, it's the video, the cash video, and I get it. But for me, I can easily walk away going, dude, the guy had just seen both of his, his wife and his son obliterated, basically. Why in the world would he? I mean, trauma is going to do funny things to the brain. He's not necessarily going to remember like every little detail about what happened. So maybe he messed up, right? He forgot what he was doing, or he, forgot that he was there. I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of things that he could talk his way out of, or that the defense could talk his way out of. This is a big one for me, and I hope that they bring up that there's only 19 seconds. So the clothing doesn't have any other blood on it, which you cannot touch those bodies and not have blood. I do not. The raincoat thing, it's not a big deal for me. I don't think the raincoat thing is a big deal. I don't know. Do you guys think that's a big deal? Yeah, where was Rogan? He's calling Paul repeatedly and then not answering. But he says he went to sleep, that he fell asleep. He called Paul one more time and then he went to bed. And so he was in bed when Alec was calling him. Oh yeah, you'd probably be. Oh, it would be a flippin' mess. Yeah, his DNA should be on the raincoat. I think the raincoat is a mess. I don't think it has anything to do with what they're talking about, and the fact that they didn't test the tarp is beyond mind-boggling. When, like she says, he brought in a tarp, it's like, okay, why wouldn't you just test the tarp? Yeah. Well, he does have. I mean, he has blood on him. It just comes back that it's not human blood. So now you got they push this whole issue that he has blood on him from spray. This was my other issue with the prosecution or the attorney generals, because how do you can't have it both ways. You can't say that this shirt has the back spray from shooting somebody and has all the gunshot residue from shooting somebody, and then go, nope, he went inside, showered, and changed his clothes. You can't have both. So if he goes in and takes a shower, this is my other thing. So if he goes in and takes a shower afterward, so let's think about the time, how much time he would have. And then how did he would not have been driving this car anyway. He would have had to have driven something else. So if they drove down there, did he drive what they all drove down there back is kind of the thing. So we know that Maggie's phone locks at 8:49:31. Paul's was at 8:49:01. We believe that they're killed at some point here. We believe that at 8:53, the killer is walking with the phone, and you can see all the orientations changing on the phone. The camera turning on for 1 second, more steps at 8:55, and more steps at 9 that we don't know how many there were. So we have all of these here. So we know that she most likely, what they want to say is that they died at 8:50, approximately 8:50. Between 8:49 and 8:50 would be when they were killed. So he gets in the car, or he starts up the car at 9:03. So he has to go from the kennels back to the house, to the shower, to the car. So let's say they were killed at 8:50, and at 9:03 he's unlocking the car. We'll just say even unlocked it. So he's got 13 minutes to get back to the house, shower, clean himself up, and leave. Yes. How did he not have blood on his shoes? I do not believe he checked the bodies. I do not believe he checked the bodies. But I'm going to go back to, I think if it was not him that did it, he was there when it was done. And the reason I say that is, one, because of the time. If you look at the timeline, it makes no sense that he wouldn't have been there. We know that they're dead before he ever even opens the door to that vehicle, right? Nobody's looking on the phone, nobody's answering messages, nothing. Nothing's happening. And he opens or boots up the infotainment system at 9:03:44. And they're gone. They're dead before that. So that's my question, is if somebody else was there and he saw it. We know that this is when the whole video's taken with Cash. Paul's texting his friends, talking to his buddies. So now I want to go to the pathologist. Also, if Paul's phone jumped out of his pocket at me and I was Alex, I definitely would have grabbed it. Who rolled up and put away the hose? It was definitely used during that video. Well, we don't know. The video was already done. So the video is done at 8:45. So there's almost a full 5 minutes. 8:45, 47 is when that video ends. So there's almost a full 5 minutes for that to get put up before we think that they're killed. So now I want to go to the pathologist, and this is where I really need you guys. I need you guys to help me understand this, because I really don't understand it. And let me see if I actually have that picture. I swear I do somewhere. Somebody had sent it to me, so it has to be in here, right? The one of the trajectory of all the bullets. No, that's not it. Like the little diagrams of their bodies. You know what I'm talking about? That's Buster and his new puppy. Okay. All right. Hold on. Let me find it. The body cam shows it put away. Right. That's why there's definitely some supposed cleanup that was happening. And he had how long before they were there to clean up. He doesn't have time. If they want him to go home and take a shower and change his clothes right after he kills them and before he leaves to his parents, he doesn't have time to do cleanup right then, in my opinion. He still has to get back to the house, shower, change his clothes, and get in his car and leave. So, I guess, how sloppy was it in the body cam? I'll have to go back and look. Do you remember, Crime Sleuth, and how sloppy the hose was in the body cam? Okay, give me 1 second. Let me take this off. See if I can find this picture real quick. So I know I had it, and now I don't know where it is. It was like from Law and Crime or something like that. It was like a screenshot from Law and Crime. Oh, here it is. Found it. Okay. Okay. This one. So, put away period is sus unless Paul did have time to put it up. It had 2 loops and 1 kink. Did it really? Or are you just making that up? Thank you. Okay, so this is the the pathologist was just kind of, she was so odd to me. But I mean, I know you have to be odd to be able to do that. So when I very first saw this, if you remember the first day that you guys were like telling me about all this, and I was like, this doesn't make any sense. And the whole thing was that Maggie was like trying to run away, like when the killer got there. Angela, that's a great point. Did not say he was wet. That's a question that was actually asked too. They were like, well, was the bed wet? Like, was he wet? And he wasn't wet. But he had 16 minutes to dry it off. I mean, okay, so this was very confusing to me the very first time you guys showed this to me. And now it's still confusing to me. So everybody made it seem like she was running away. And I think that was kind of the narrative that we were fed from mainstream media before. But now we know that like the killer's actually facing her. And the first shot is to her thigh. So, and this diagram is actually not even accurate because this shows her it going, it's supposed to be her left thigh. And this is showing it going in from behind and out the front. That's interesting. So this diagram is actually not even correct. So what they had was wrong. Because it goes in the front and out the back. And it's her left thigh. Does that make sense? So she's standing, no matter which way, it doesn't make sense, right? Because if she's standing towards us, this would be the left. Yeah, this is not accurate. God, I wish I had the ones from court. Okay, anyway, so we're going to still use it because it still kind of talks about the points of entrance. So she has this gunshot in her thigh. And they say that's the first one, and that the person was approximately 3 feet away. I have an issue with this because if he's this hunter, you know, that he supposedly is, so Maggie got immobilized and then shot in the head. So I would go with that. So there's a shot to her leg that it doesn't make sense that you're going to shoot her first in the leg. Unless you're going to immobilize her so she stops running. But if you're going to kill her anyway, typically you don't shoot in the leg. That's not where you would be shooting her at. And he should have a better shot, especially when he's 3 feet away. I'm like, I could probably hit a good target at 3 feet away. You see what I mean? Like, so how does he shoot her in the leg? And why would he shoot her in the leg? That doesn't make sense to me. So this brings me back to the whole somebody else being there. Did he owe money to somebody? The whole, you know, was somebody there to, you know, teach him a lesson kind of thing? Because that's something that you would do, is like to cause pain, right? You'd have to watch this person in pain. So because the shooting in the leg just doesn't make sense. And now the shooting in the wrist, which we thought was a fifth, but she says very well could just be the same one. But there's too many shell casings then. And I think there's too many shell casings anyway, but that's neither here nor there. Then you have the other one where he shoots her in the abdomen. But the trajectory is so messed up on all of them. Because she shot this one right here is the one that gets me, the one going straight up. So she says that she shot in the bottom of her left breast, comes out the top, and then goes into her head. But she tried to like do this, like she's bent over, like, if she's bent over, that's how she would get shot like that. Somebody explained to me how you would you not get shot in your butt then? I mean, like, it doesn't make sense. How do you shoot? If somebody's bent over, how do you shoot that way? It makes more sense to me if the person's laying down or backwards that you would shoot and it would go that way. How do you get shot under your boob if you're bent over? Because you still have your leg and your butt there. So I need somebody to help me understand this. Oh yeah, this is why I don't believe he went and checked anything. I don't think he went and checked anybody. When he says that he went to go check their pulse and this, that, and the other, I don't think so. I think they were shooting fast like a bunch to see what landed. Well, no, because if they're shooting a bunch, then there'd be a ton of shell casings. Hi, Valerie. It's good to see you. You aim for the center of the body, so this doesn't make sense unless they're a bad shooter, which he wasn't. Crime sleuth, and that's my point. And if you're only 3 feet away, you don't miss. You're only 3 feet away. You're not gonna miss. You shot her in the leg on purpose, in my opinion. But there's not a bunch of shell casings. Okay, CB count. Hypothetically, if AM had 2 different guns, one in each hand arm, could that cause awkward trajectory of bullets? Well, it probably would if he's trying to shoot the 300 blackout left-handed or something funky. There was a golf cart, Teresa. Yep, there's a golf cart and an ATV. I wish y'all could see the things running through my mind right now. Maybe he did the bad shots intentionally. Maybe. It just, I don't know, it just doesn't add up. It just doesn't add up. It doesn't add up. So she gets shot in the front of her left thigh, comes out the back of her left thigh, or if it would be this way. This left thigh, this is the other side, right? Then she gets shot in her abdomen. It's more likely than that actually would knock her down, and then this would go up her boob. So they say like she's bent over and it comes like from an angle from behind her. But he's shooting from the front. So she shot in the left thigh. But then the other shot comes from the right. So this is what doesn't make sense. He shot her through the left boob, bullet traveled down through to the abdomen. Well, that's what I'm saying. So how does he shoot from the bottom of the boob? How do you get shot in the bottom of your boob? This is where I'm really struggling. How do you get shot? You get shot and your left leg comes out the back of your left thigh, right? From that, so that's from the right side. Then you get shot in your abdomen from the right side again. Now, how do you get shot up your left boob? Yep. What if he was shooting laying under his truck? Well, so then this leads me back to my whole other issue. Is on the timeline at 8, what time does it end? 8:45:47? You have them all on this tape, all messing around with Bubba and talking about cash and talking about Bubba. How do you go at 8:45:47 to by 8:49:01? You, with less than 4 minutes, you've now got 2 guns and you're killing 2 people. While you're on this video and you're messing around with this dog and this chicken and everything else. Make that make sense. How do you go from that to that? Which means like that makes me think like was somebody else there and did it and he watched the whole thing happen. And does he go to his mom's because he's afraid, or to, I don't know. That's what I'm like, I don't know. It doesn't make sense. The timeline doesn't make sense in my head. This is why we're here talking. Well, the four-wheeler was missing from outside the house, so that's a possibility. However, there's no proof it was the vehicle that made any tracks as far as I've seen. No, eye in the sky, there is no proof because they talk about all the tire marks being basically washed away. They have no idea what vehicles were down there. No, there's nothing that shows that he stopped to throw the phone, in my opinion. I mean, he could have been driving faster, but we don't know that. We don't have all that info from GM. A total speculational theory chat later. Me? Anyone else? Raquel Welch passed away. Hi, Corinne. The eye in the sky, this is where I'm at. Like, I can't make it make sense. It doesn't make sense. Teresa, I wonder too if number 2 person was there possibly. This is I keep going back to this because it doesn't make sense. He knew they were dead. He already knew they were dead. He does not go and check on them. There's no way in this timeline that he goes to check on them, checks pulses, does any of that. Has no blood on him from them. No blood on his shoes, doesn't step in any of the blood. He does not check on them. That's a bold-faced lie. So he knew they were dead when he pulled back up over there. But it also doesn't make sense to me that he goes from messing around with Bubba and the chicken to within a couple of minutes shooting them. It doesn't make sense to me either. She's on her knees. Okay, so how does she get shot in the boob? It is. It is hard. Because I don't really know which way. I don't know which way to go. Because some things make me go, oh, okay, yeah, I can see this. And then other things I'm like, wait, no, then if this is this, then this can't be that. You can have at it. You don't even have to hijack it. I'll just let you do it. Or unless it's more fun, then you have to hijack it. He didn't trying to turn. I agree with you. I don't think he did. So, okay, then my other part comes in. Let's go back over here to this, even though it's definitely not accurate from what they showed in court now that I'm looking at some of these things. But you have the shot. There was this whole thing about Paul's head. Actually, let me take this down. There's this whole thing about Paul's head and how she's trying to say like it's turned like this and how the bullet comes and scrapes over his shoulder and enters here. And then that's what goes up and blows the back of his head off, right? So they repeat this over and over about how his head is turned. So that shot comes from the left, right? Because if it's left, I should say correct instead of right. So left comes over, hits him in the shoulder, goes in, hits him right here, and then goes through into his head, right? But the other shot comes from the right. Comes from the right and hits him in the chest. I don't understand. Oh no. Oh no. How sad. Is it the GM guy? Who is it? I agree. What's not there is just as important as what is there when it comes to crime scene and evidence. Yep. Yeah. That's sad. So somebody help me understand Paul's then, because that doesn't make sense to me either. How is Paul's one way and then another way? If he's standing inside the feed room, how does the shot change? Hi, Tammy's Clips. It's good to see you. Shock could explain that. Shock could explain a lot of things. I mean, we talk about this even with like the Idaho 4 case. We talked about it with other cases. Like trauma does really stupid things to your brain. Your brain is a phenomenal thing. It can totally take away things that it doesn't want you to remember that cause you issues. You know what I'm saying? Like, so we know the brain can do stuff, but do we believe it all the time? No. No. Because we just think like, how could you think that? How could you not think that? So I don't know how does Paul get shot at 2 different angles? Anybody? Everybody went back to watching the trial? Oh shit. That doesn't make sense to me either. So I do think that the defense is going to try to make it that the wound on his head is the entrance wound, and then this is the exit. Let's see. You think he was shot once off guard, still standing, then turned his body and looked, then he got the bad shot? That's what I'm wondering. So if he's shot and he looks down at it, would really explain like what the hell, like what the hell is that? Like what just happened? And then the other shot comes, would make sense why his head is in that direction, but I still don't really know how. He's still standing. They said that the first shot would make it so he's still standing. So then how does he turn? Or is he not turning? The person's walking. Do you see what I mean? Like, so is he still standing like this? Person shoots from over here. That person, then he's like this, and then that person's walking and shoots from over there. Right. No, it's okay, Eye in the Sky. I'm about to hop off anyway, but I just wanted to kind of finish up, and I was hoping that somebody could help me understand these because I don't really understand them. Maybe the power of the gun knocked him around. So they have in, let me see if I can find it. That's the boat. They have. So this is somebody's reenactment because you can see a mannequin standing here. And the prosecution says they didn't do any reenactments. So then is this a defense photo? I don't know. But if he's standing facing like this, he's like facing the right of the doorway. That would make sense how the shot comes from the right. But I don't then understand how the other shot came from the left. So is he, because it's found out here, so is he like turns and kind of is coming out, and then that person shoots from over here? You see what I'm saying? That's the only thing I can kind of come up with. Yeah, maybe he turned, because this would be his right, so he gets shot, starts coming out this way, then there's like looking like I just got shot, like, and then the person shoots him right there. That's the only thing I can think of. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense. All right, let me look at the screenshot that LFT sent me real quick, and then we will wrap it up. You guys can go back to watching just the trial, and then my messenger is a disaster. When you're done. Okay, let me see. 7:57:16. Okay, so thank you. I'm waiting at the doctor. Alex wants me to come home. I leave the door open. I doesn't shut the door, locked door. His dad is back in hospital. Last doctor's. Okay, so you have this very late. This was earlier in the day, LFT. So yours is still on UTC time. Okay, so yours is UTC time. So what is -4? What is there? -3, -4? Because you have yours at 7:57:16 p.m. And those are like at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I will be home to see you in a few hours. Okay, so I will be home to see you in a few hours. This must be to Alec then, because it says, how's your doctor's appointment? It has to be, I will be home to see you in a few hours, which is like when she's at the doctor and he's messaging her. Bye, Crime Sleuthin. Hi, Claire. No, I didn't. I missed that. I was probably already off by then. Teresa says, being a trauma nurse in surgery, GSW, and the internal damage ammunition does internally can be a mystery how injuries bounce off or penetrate organs as bone tissues too, entry and exit wounds. So have you ever seen an entrance wound that looks like an exit wound? Elizabeth says, I think he did it. I also think he feels a speck of remorse. Hi, replay crew. Okay. Let's see. I don't think he had enough time to leave the office at 5:36, ride around with Paul, eat, sleep, all before 8:45, 8:50 when they were killed. He knows he's caught with today's interrogation video was damning. Yeah, so I didn't get to watch any cross on that, so I think that's where I left off. You're so funny. Anyways, guys, I miss y'all a bunch, but I also have straight A's. Following in T's footsteps. I still have the good solves and good jokes for you, though. Well, we miss you, too. Hi, Mrs. Troy. That's okay. We're going to get ready to wrap up because I got to go pick up kids and go back to listening to the trial. But thank you guys. Thank you guys for hanging out here for even just a short time while I wrap my mind around some of the things that have been happening in the case and trying to help me figure it all out. I appreciate you guys. But we'll go back to the trial and we'll meet up. If Christine's hijacking the channel, I guess we'll meet up then. Otherwise, I'll see you probably tomorrow or Friday. All right. Bye.